Bigfoot this year has been just like last year, a little better. So we'll do it again in a couple of months. Thank you for all of our out of town guests has come. Thank you for coming. A lot of these people have been coming to Alabama a long time. And one of the things that I want to talk to you guys, the Creepy Mountain alumni, is a way that since there's Bigfoot researchers that die that are associated with Alabama, if maybe we can have an oral project start up. We can put it online, and then everybody can draw maybe some information. Because there's a lot of Bigfoot history that's being lost. That's one reason I wanted to talk tonight with your daughter. And so I'm excited about it. We're going to give some books away. Who's drove the farthest, do you think, here? Who's drove the farthest? We got Oklahoma folks, probably
Ryan.
Probably Ryan. Yeah. Yes, Brian, pick a book. Yeah, Ryan, I'll bring it to you. There was a couple, Mark, what was the other trivia question?
We should all say what states we're from, though, just so we can, all come together.
Okay, let's start it off.
I'm from Ohio.
Alabama.
Georgia.
Alabama.
Florida.
Alabama.
Texas.
Arkansas.
Alabama.
Texas. I'm from Georgia. Oklahoma. I know.
Roll Tide.
Alabama.
Roll Tide. Ohio and
Alabama. New Jersey.
That's
Alabama.
Go ahead.
Alabama.
Arkansas.
Alabama.
And Patrick!
Florida.
Yeah. Alrighty. Cedar Creek Bottom. She's doing some amazing stuff with her building her little empire, and this is her table. So we're gonna give away a mouse pad. Do you have any ideas how you want to give it away? Or you should look right back at it. Oh, there she is. Just give it away. Who wants a mouse pad?
Not everybody at once.
I do.
Thank you.
And everyone should take a look at their merchandise. It helps support their channel.
Yeah. Cedar Creek Bottom is the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Patreon. Whatever she's doing, please support them. Good friends of ours and good people. Have a coffee mug. Come on.
Who was one of the main characters in Boggy Creek?
Who is one of the main characters in Boggy Creek?
Keith Crabtree.
Keith Crabtree.
Momo.
There you go.
It's a
Middle one.
What year was the Patterson Gimlin footage filmed?
Everybody said it's a rerun.
I think what day was it?
There we go.
What day was it?
Wednesday.
November? Oh, it was this.
He's got it.
Yeah, this gentleman.
Yes.
October 20th.
This young man is a future aviator of the Navy.
nice.
Wish him luck on his journey.
Thank you for your service.
Who remembers one of the first videos I ever did? Not on Bigfoot, but on other things.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Over, man.
This is all you. Oh, I know it, but.
Well, hold on, what?
The Ghost of Cox Cove Road?
No, but
That's close.
the Legend of Jack Cole Road.
Jack Cole,
Here you go, come pick a book.
Yeah.
Say, can we YouTube it?
You're talking about a weird road in Blount County? It's a weird road. There's a lot of weird things that happened over there the last couple of years.
Hey, can I go, please?
Hey, JD.
And last but not least, one more book. What? Who's the biggest fan of Nightcrawler's Bigfoot Radio? Oh, there we go, Rebecca. The souls of animals.
Hey, that's a good
We've
book
got a
for
lot of
me.
animals, yes.
Sorry.
And it's Lori's birthday today.
Yes.
Lori's birthday. Let's sing happy
And Lori's
birthday.
birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lori. Happy birthday to
the show. We're gonna turn it over to these ladies, and I've known about this beautiful lady over here for a long time. When I first got invited to Creepy Mountain, I did 3 or 4 months research, government research, where I take everything and I dissect it completely. And her name kept popping up, and then Mark's was popping up with hers, and all these associations. And then I had the honor of meeting, going to Creepy Mountain, and Lori did a lot of work there, a lot of trailblazing. So I'm going to turn it over to these guys. Go about 30, 40 minutes, and then we'll break if we need to, or we'll keep going. So we'll figure it out, okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Everybody give them a hand, please.
My name is Laurie Dyer Hood, and has anybody here heard my story? If you've heard my story, raise your hand. Okay, so not too many people will be bored, hopefully. Okay, I'm from East Texas. I currently live in Nacogdoches, but when my journey began, I was living in Angelina County, Texas, on Lake Sam Rayburn. I'm a little nervous. So.
Oh, you're good.
But anyway, I had moved there, and I lived in a little house in a camp community, and most of the people that lived there were from Houston. So they would come for a weekend or something like that, and there was only about 6 houses where everybody lived there all the time. And this was in Angelina National Forest, and through the woods was Lake Sam Rayburn. So anyway, I lived there for about 5 years, and I had some strange things happen, but I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I didn't know about Bigfoot. I never watched The Legend of Boggy Creek or In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. If it was about Bigfoot, I changed the channel. I didn't care, you know. And so anyway, we were out on the lake fishing real late one night. I worked shift work at the paper mill, and I got off about 10 o'clock. We just bought a pontoon boat, and everybody been going fishing but me. So they met me up at the boat ramp, and I boarded, and we went out. And we're out there, and of course my husband at the time and my father-in-law were both hard of hearing, shooting too many guns, you know. And so they didn't hear the coyotes when they stood off, or start sounding off. And I said, "Do you hear those coyotes?" And they go, "Nope, we don't hear nothing." Well, then I hear this really long, deep howl, and then it was followed up by a roar, like a lion. And I've been camping and fishing all my life, and I've never heard anything that I could even think of that would roar and howl at the same time or in the same. So anyway, I got real uneasy, and I don't know why I did. I just got very uneasy. I felt like whatever it was going to jump in the lake and swim out there and kill us all. And so I said, "I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go." And of course, you know, pontoon boats, they can go fast, but not this one. It was like pat, 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 all the way back to the boat ramp. Got to the boat ramp. I realized that day had gotten there in the afternoon, so guess what? They're parked way up there. Guess who has to go get it? Me. I'm passing all these dark woods, and there is a light, but I just said, "Oh God, it's already made it here," you know, whatever it is. I never knew what it was, but it just scared me. Then when I got home, I realized that where I heard it at and where I live was probably half a mile. So that wasn't very reassuring. Well, that was in like 1998. And then in 2000, it was quite by accident actually, but I've been having a lot of things, like I was hearing wood knocks, I was hearing strange vocalizations, I was having something walking around my house out in the dark. Even my husband said, "Who's that walking out there?" You know, and it was just pitch dark there, and we had all kinds of obstacles out in the yard, fencing, and we had a little pen for these stray puppies. We all took turns giving them away when we'd find them. And anyway, anybody walking through there without night vision would have killed themselves. But this individual was walking through there, walking around the house, not a thing. So, anyway, I used the CB, big CB'er, and the computer came out. Step over here. Oh, it's going to follow me. The computer came out about that time in 2000, and all the CB'ers went to the computer, you know, so no more shoot and skip. We could talk to anybody we wanted to. Well, it was boring to me. The challenge of shooting skip was all what it was about to me. And so anyway, I started going around and looking at these different rooms in Powtalk, which is still up now. It's a talk, text, chat, video program. So anyway,
What's chasing you?
the smoke.
I smell. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I come across this room, and I was looking for Southern people, because, you know, Southern people are good people. You know, they're just real friendly, and so I saw this room. It was Gulf Coast Bigfoot Research Organization. I said, Gulf Coast, that's south. So I go in there, and they're talking about Bigfoot. And of course, I didn't have a mic or anything. All I could do was text. But I am just laughing because these people believed in Bigfoot. And I just thought that was the most absurd thing ever. So anyway, I kept going in there because the people were really nice. And so I kept going in there, and then one day I got the courage up enough to type in, well, I heard this sound when I was on the lake. And there was this guy there, he's passed away now, Dallas Gilbert. And he said, well, I'm going to play something for you. And when he played it, it was exactly what I heard. Exactly. And I just got, I can't even explain. I had a hot and cold sensation. Like, oh my God, that can't be, you know? But I still had to prove it to myself. So I'm going out in the woods every day, and I'm looking for sign and tracks and all this good stuff. And every day I'm going out there. Every day I'm hitting it. And at the same time, I'm recording. And I started recording. I had a Radio Shack recorder and a stop mic, and that's all I had. But all the sounds I was hearing was from my bedroom windows, so I would just put the tape recorder on the floor and stick the mic in the window and then close down the window so that the mic was outside. And every 30 minutes or 45, if I was lucky, I had a 45-minute cassette tape, I would wake up and flip it. And I did this all night long, and then on the way to college, I was going to college at the time. I wasn't a college student. I was an older college student, I'll put it that way. But I had to listen to it and mark down what I heard and all this. And I would do this night after night after night. I swear I probably aged 15 years because I was just so obsessed in getting anything I could find on this possible being. And everyone was saying what I was finding was probably Bigfoot. So I'm wondering if I should go ahead and play some of the sounds, the early sounds. I didn't have my first sighting until 2002. I think I've said on other radio shows it was 2001, but once I got to looking at these recordings, I realized it was actually Labor Day 2002. But some of these are the earlier ones. Which one's that? Okay. Before you play it, I want to explain this one. It was Christmas of 2002, and we had something that was just howling around the neighborhood. And we were up there putting up Christmas lights, and I said, what is that? And then we went down to the creek that was near the house and recorded it from there also. It was just moving. It was just going in a circle, and it was howling for like 3 or 4 days And this is what it was doing. Oh no. Shall I imitate it? It was kind of going.
Ooh, I love it. Can you do it again for us? Just
This is not what we're doing tonight. Absolutely not. Okay. Alright, we're gonna do it from the laptop. It's acting funky.
Oh no.
I touched it.
It almost has, I don't know if you can hear it, it almost has a human sound.
Oh yeah.
As I continued to record from my bedroom window, I started to get more activity in my backyard, and specifically my bedroom window. And of course, you know, everybody in the community, you have to realize that back then, 20 years ago, there was no finding Bigfoot. And so people that were interested and were looking into and researching Bigfoot were maybe 500 in the whole United States. Whereas now it's thousands, you know. But you just didn't go around telling people what you did because they think you were batshit, you know, crazy. So, anyway, I started getting some really strange sounds from my recorder. And I think that, and I've had several people tell me, that I may have picked up on some language. You know, it's mainly just grunts and huffs and things like that. But it does have a kind of a, it could be considered their language. Huffs, AC language. Yeah. I can't even read it. Did y'all hear that?
Barely.
Okay. Kind of a, and that sound is the AC unit. I was a beginner.
Hey, but you got it on.
Yeah.
Audio.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What about, was that language or huffs? Okay, we're going to try huffs now. Just a heavy breath.
It's creepy.
I'm just wondering why that speaker's not working. What'd you do to him?
This is a weird place.
Electronics don't like it here, I've learned.
It's the same one?
It's working now.
Oh, it is? Had a little Chihuahua dog. She was a little mix. She was the runt. She was my favorite little dog. Sorry, Sylvie. And anyway, she wasn't scared of anything. I mean, she hears something out there, she'd run right out there after it. And I would be on the computer and she'd sit behind me. And I was on the computer and she heard something bump against the house. Of course, I had got the recorder going. And she heard something bump up against the house and she ran outside and I'm yelling at her to get back in the house. And I didn't realize that I even had anything. But what she did was, what this recording is, and I'll explain it to you so you can listen. Something comes walking up to my window and it's just standing there breathing very heavily. Then it bumps into the house. She hears that. She's running out barking. He growls and she chases him off. A big of something. So, go ahead. This is him breathing. Here's where he bumps into the house. You ride up on that bike, I actually had to lower the audio. What's next? Okay. This is 4 whoops in a response, and I hope y'all can hear the response because it's just bizarre.
4 whoops at response.
Okay. Kind of goes, whoa, wow! Okay. Okay, we've already done that one. No. No job. I don't know if y'all will be able to hear this one or not, but I believe that I caught one on audio going from bipedal to quadrupedal coming towards my window. So. See how it changed? It lightened up because when they're on all fours, they're a lot quieter. What? Oh, okay. Another thing about Angelina County that was extremely special was that Bigfoot, or everything, owls, coyotes, even the Sasquatch, all had like a singing cadence. You know, and I would tell people, and they just wouldn't believe me. You know, they'd say, no, no, no. You know, they'd have to hear it for themselves. So there were several that did hear it for themselves and just thought it was the weirdest thing ever. But I got quite a few examples of that, of it. It's still a howl, but it's a beautiful kind of cadence.
There's 1 and 2.
Okay, 1 and 2. All right.
The great unknown.
Okay, it leads me up to the great unknown. I call it the great unknown because I recorded at 11 o'clock at night and I'm laying in bed and I hear it. And I go, oh, please, please, please let me have got that. It was the strangest thing I'd ever heard. It was so strange and nobody knew what it was. So I sent it to Dr. Benson at the Center of Bioacoustics in Corpus Christi. And he examined it and ran it through all his programs and everything, and he says it meets nothing that we have here. He says it's kind of close to a fox, but it's not a fox. So anyway, I called it the Great Unknown.
I'm gonna play it one more time.
It's like a banshee type yell.
Yeah.
Like a siren scream.
Yeah. That's
It's that real eerie.
And I actually heard it again.
I don't want to meet what makes that noise.
Whenever I've heard that, it got paranormal real fast.
Oh, really?
Not Bigfoot, but just an oddity to the air, a crackling to the air kind of. So that, did that happen to you when you heard that?
No, I was inside my house in bed when I heard it.
That's crazy though.
The second time I heard it, I was in bed too. It was exactly the same sound.
Can you play it one more time, Lauren? It sounds almost like a werewolf.
A werewolf? Don't say
A
that.
dog man. Listen.
So in 2002, it was Labor Day weekend. There was a lot of people in the neighborhood, and I was up late that night, and I'd let my little Cookie out to the yard, and I would always go out with her because there's no telling what kind of trouble she would get into. It's not being that big, you know, but I went out there with her, and I'm on the phone, and I hear what sounds like just a repetitive growling sound. But the lake was down real low that year, and I thought it's a boat hung up on a sandbar or something. And but then the longer I talked, the more I listened. I said, "That's growling," and it was coming directly across the street in a cane patch. And so he told me go to my boat and get the spotlight. Well, that smoke is eating my lunch, people. Let me stand over here somewhere. Okay. So anyway, I did. I shined it over there in that cane patch, and of course the growling stopped. And he said, well, pan the wood line. So I was going on over, and then right here, cat corner to my house was a trailer house that these people would come occasionally and stay in and stuff, but nobody was home at that time. And as I got over to the trailer house, the old spotlights used to have rings, you know, and I noticed in that outer ring I saw something move, so I shot it back, and that's when I saw him. And he was standing next to a pine tree behind some yopon, and the yopon would come to about, you know, right mid-belly or mid-chest or whatever. And he immediately turned his head, closed his eyes, and turned his head and ducked down. But I saw him. He was tall. He was built like an NBA basketball player, just real lean. His hair was real smooth and short. It seemed like it was short. It was red. He did not have the sagittal crest. I couldn't tell if he had ears. But I kind of feel like he might have been a young one. And, but anyway, I was just in, you know, I had thought I believed until I saw it. Then I realized I did not believe at all until.
Sister.
So I saw it, and I didn't have any choice but to believe it, and my world was upside down. Upside down. And the next morning, I had a researcher from Garland, Texas come down, and she and I went over there, and just the area. And I forgot to mention that before, I'm jumping way ahead of myself. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me go back just a little bit. I had been finding things in the woods. And when I would go down this same trail every day, I would either take a right or a left right at the lake. And I'd go around through the trails. They were four-wheeler trails. And one day I went down that trail and I saw a little animal skull. Just a little one, like a possum or something. And I picked it up and looked at it and set it back down. Well, the next day I thought I would pick it up because I like painting turtle shells, which I found a lot of those. Weird. When I found those, they were like something grabbed that turtle by the head and just pulled its whole body out. It still had skin where the feet were and stuff, and I don't know. It was weird. But I wanted to get that animal skull and it was gone. But instead was a feather. A very large feather. It was, I believe, blue heron was the first one. Then the next day, there was another one. And the next day, there was another one, and it was eagle feathers. We're talking big feathers. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever found big feathers in the woods, but they're rare to find. They're hard to find. And I was getting one every single day, and I would just make a big deal and fan my face and stick it up in my ponytail and just make this big thing about it. And then when I got home, I'd stick them in I had like a little wreath thing on my porch wall, and I'd just stick them in there. I had all these feathers. Well, my neighbor came over and he said, "Where'd you get all the feathers?" And I said, "Well, I just find them out in the woods." And he said, You've got about 10 or 11 eagle feathers. You know that's in you away for the rest of your life. And I said, "Really?" I had no idea. He goes, "I put those in the house if I were you, so I had to put them in the house." But all this time, I thought that somebody was leaving me something. Back then, you talk about gifting or receiving something. Nobody heard of that. Nobody did it. They thought it was absurd. And I was asking everybody, "You sure they don't? You sure they don't?" Well, of course, now people know they do. But back then, I was being gifted, and I had no idea. But another thing that was going on, too, was I felt like I was being watched. My house faced those woods, and every night, I would feel like somebody was watching me, and I thought it was my creepy POW neighbor, you know. And he'd ride around out in the woods. I'd see him out in the woods on a four-wheeler, and he was just creepy. And I thought that's who it was, over there across the street in the woods, just watching my house. And my husband was a truck driver. He was never home. So I had to start closing blinds and all this stuff every evening. Well, when I had that sighting and we went over there, there was a very worn place by that pine tree where this individual had been standing there. And he was the one who was watching me all this time. I think he was the one that was coming up to the back of the house. He was the one that was leaving me the gifts and all of this. And then once I hit him with that spotlight, I never got another feather. I never heard another thing, never got that feeling. He was gone. He was gone. That was the end of that. So where are we at now on the next one?
We are at pardon me, sir.
Oh. Okay. Well, I was so obsessed with Bigfoot, and I will be honest with you, I was so obsessed with Bigfoot that my husband asked me one day, he goes, "You know what, if I didn't know better, I would say Bigfoot was more important to me." And I said, well, and so we ended up splitting up, and I had to leave my precious area. That just killed me, because that was the most active area I've ever been in. It was like pristine. Nobody had ever messed with it. But I feel like that while I was there, I changed things. I feel like I changed things since I was always going out there doing stuff. And I feel like I changed things. So when I moved over to Nacogdoches County, that place wasn't near as hot, but I still had stuff, but it wasn't near as good. But
We have Silicaga and Unknown Vocals.
okay,
Featuring Mark Green.
okay, yes. I'm playing this one for Mark.
So as she learned, so she began as a baby researcher like a lot of us, you know, from her experiences. And so as she collected her data and evidence, she had to learn, as all of us do. You start out with training wheels and then start riding your bike without them. She had to learn the do's and don'ts of recording audio. And now we know when you're recording, you look to the person next to you and you go, shh, or you don't record next to your AC unit, or you...
I used to do that. There'd be a group out there and they'd all be kind of talking and stuff. I'd all be like, shh, stop! I'm recording! You know, I was so rude. Oh my God, I was horrible. Because, oh my God, they're vocalizing. Shut up! You know?
Yeah.
Well, Mark so graciously invited us to Creepy Mountain. And so anyway, we had a vocal going and he's talking to somebody. I don't know who he's talking to, I don't remember. But I'm over there interacting with the Sasquatch and he's over there talking.
So this is called Pardon Me, Sir.
Yes.
They're vocalizing.
That's Mark. You hear it squatch? That was me.
No, look.
I thought that was really cool audio.
Underneath the talking, you can hear the noise coming back, and it's interacting with the calls that she's doing.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, but
That was back when calling really worked.
It doesn't now because of Finding Bigfoot, but
Yeah.
she
You remember
learned
what year that was?
that was
2009, I think.
Okay. Sounded like Keith on there too talking.
So it's probably you and Keith.
Yeah, we're probably yakking.
he's passing the buck.
Yeah, Keith's not here today.
That's right.
But she learns that sometimes you get amazing things, and it doesn't have to be the perfect recording. You get artifact noise. So that's what this next one, I'm guessing, has to do with.
Yeah, it's
the
like,
bridge.
well, I don't know if I want to play that. I don't know if they'll be able to hear it, but it was like a really good vocals, but then there's a car going over the bridge, you know?
Well, let's
That's
see.
that kind of stuff, you know?
Hold on.
That's the car.
You're pretty good vocal.
Yeah, good vocals. She has 20 years of audio that
Yeah.
has artifact noise in it. It's not the perfect clip of a Sasquatch scream,
No.
but it's, you know.
When I was, I'm creating a YouTube channel. It's called Squatching Night, NITE, audio. And I'm putting trying to put all of my recordings up with 4K video, you know, so it's a little more entertaining. But as I was going through it, I come across this one CD. And no, it was a folder. And I'm listening to it, and it's got the best audio I ever heard. A lot of foul language. And I was like, who is this? It was so good. Their audio was so good. I just wanted to lay down and quit. I really did. They trees being pushed over. They had like fighting Bigfoot. They had just all this stuff. And it's the Ohio Night Stalkers, just to let y'all know.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on coyotes.
So bad it was
Okay.
like Connor moved.
Well, I'm trying to move this along a little bit because I do have a lot to say and I can't say it all. But when I moved to Booger Hill, that's what we call it. It's in Nacogdoches County. It is close to the Angelina River, which feeds into Lake Sam Rayburn. So when I got there, I decided I was going to try something different. I was going to pretend I didn't know anything about Bigfoot. And see, you know, I wasn't going to go out there hunting tracks and doing whoops and sticking my recorder where they could see it. I was just going to act totally ignorant. But guess what? They knew. They knew I knew. They know you know. So, anyway, I got some recordings from that area too. And, but right now I think we're going to talk about...
Well, we can do the 4 years later, or later years.
What is that? That's coyotes what?
Coyote response.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and play these. I think there's 3. I believe they're coyotes. Now, some people don't think they're coyotes, and that's up to you guys to decide. But they're just really strange. If they are a coyote, he's special. Special ed coyote. Okay. For the owl. You want to go ahead and play the next one? This is a weird one. Lake Winona, Arkansas.
That one sounds like Sylvia when she was here.
That's full.
Oh.
That's full. That's not a coyote. That's full.
Alright, last one on this.
Okay, that's me doing a call. You remember that? Where is that?
He had to use facility.
Oh, well done.
It sounded like a wolf.
That's full.
It did. To me, it sounded like a New Mexico or Arizona coyote or something.
That's your classic.
Yeah.
That's what they play on the movies anyway.
Yeah. And I thought, that's weird, so I kept it. I don't know why, but...
You didn't see it?
Poor dog.
Good. This is it. How long have I been talking? Okay.
30 minutes.
Okay.
Have you ever put any of your audio into Audacity to see it on the spectrogram?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you notice the different dashes? I mean, it's...
I'm not really good with Audacity. I've been trying it. Most of my recordings are mono, so when you put them in Audacity, you can't really split them up. And I use the Olympus recorder and Bionic here. And I've got a Zoom, but I just hate that thing. I can't figure out how- Look at that Sylvia Renee.
Come here.
Hey.
Sylvia.
Sylvia. What?
Mark.
And poor Rusty again.
Oh my goodness. Look at the redneck dogs.
You stir one up and get them all.
Yep, you can.
You can give me sister again, Mark?
So she's gonna play my favorite audio clip that she has, and it's from an outing with other researchers. I'll let her explain, but it's my favorite one because it is chilling. Okay.
Mark, let her go. Let her go.
We had gone to a little place in the Upland Island Wilderness, and I don't know if you guys know where that is. It's like on the edge of the big thicket down in Texas. And we were sitting between two creeks right on the fork. And there was like woods where we were at, but it's like open field on both sides for about half mile. And then there was woods. And we had been down there for several hours, and we were just milling around and being real quiet and everything. And one of the girls did a call, a weird call, like a falling cow call, some kind of weird. She was experimenting. Well, we got no response. Well, I know it was about 45 minutes later because I had to flip the tape. Still working on Radio Shack. And we hear the first howl. And then we hear another howl. And then the next thing we know, we're hearing howls over here and over here. And they're all coming this way on top of us. And it was like within 45 seconds, they were on top of us. And we were trying to get into our vehicles, and I was trying to get my mic cord in, so I had to edit it because it's so loud, me banging that mic, it's caught up in the window. Well, I closed the door on it. You know, I'm so rattled by being screamed at.
But it's not just her, grown men freaking out, they were pushing each other in the car saying, you go get the equipment. No, you get out and go get it.
Yes, that was the other car.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to get out of the car and get their equipment. They had their recorders on tripods.
It's a very eerie recording, and you'll see how intense it can get out in the woods for researchers, especially back in the day when things were even more active than they are now.
Yeah.
So.
settled that I was worried about that stupid microphone. Now, I should have just left it out there, you know, but I just had to get it in and get the window rolled up, but it was exhilarating. That is probably one of the most intense moments. So I have others, but I'm probably not going to go ahead and play them, but I do want to open the floor for questions if anybody has any. Nope? Okay.
I do. I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Was there anything that you did that kind of... Anything you were doing to kind of precipitate?
Them coming up on us like that?
Yeah. Did you prepare? Did you create something that kind of get it started, or did you just take the mic out and wait?
I honestly, and I've talked over lots of people about it, I believe that they didn't know we were there.
Okay.
I think they were having a rumble of some kind, and we were just caught right in the middle of it. Because we had been down there about 4 hours, really quiet. So they probably didn't know we were there. Was there another question?
No.
How do you know when it's
No, sister.
I mean, because that was a no-brainer there, but sometimes you got just a signal coming in or something that you know of.
Well, I'm going to tell you, sometimes, to me, I just feel the energy change. You just get that sensation that, and you know, infrasounds can cause that too. I'm real familiar with infrasound. I've done a lot of playing with it, you know, while we're out there, see how long we can stay there in it, how it affects different people and stuff like that. But sometimes you get that feeling that this is it. I better get out. You know, I've been bluff charged. And I went every time. I said, he bluff charged me 3 times in one night. Tearing through the woods, coming at me. But he had always stopped just short. That I could not stand my ground. Because it seemed like the closer he got to me and the louder he got, the more I had to go. You know, get in the car. I'd hide in the car, and then I'd get my nerve back up, and I'd go back out there again and stand there at the edge of the woods and do it again. But that's the feeling I'm talking about, that energy, that aggressive energy.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Whenever you saw that first one, and then you went home and went to bed that night and you're brushing your teeth, what were you thinking?
Oh, well, actually, I went into shock for about 4 hours. I lost time. So, but then I never went to sleep. As soon as somebody would get up and answer their phone, I called them. And I was scared to death to go out in the woods, too. You know, but I still made myself do it because I loved it so much, and I wasn't going to. And I was having people tell me, they're going to rape you, they're going to kill you, and you're going out there by yourself, you should take somebody with you. But I went by myself and I never carried a weapon. And I never saw a hog, I never saw bobcats or cougars or anything. As long as Bigfoot were around, I was safe.
Y'all see why this woman is so special in Bigfoot world? A lot of good stuff thinking this way.
You're welcome.
We're not done yet. We have a retired ranger with us, Mr. Dan. Mr. Dan, you'll come up here and tell your story, and then we'll go to you, Miss Laura.
Yes.
Come on up here. This is Mr. Dan, and he can give you a little background and tell us.
My story is kind of anticlimactic. Back in '76, I was a state park ranger, and I had the duties at that time of closing the park up at night, which is we generally close either 9 or 10, it's all according to the season. But with that, you had to do the patrol of the whole park, 10,000 acre park. Didn't have to patrol all of that, but all the public use areas is what we had to do. And one of these areas that I had to go into was a primitive camping area. Which was not open. This was dead of winter and it wasn't open. We didn't have any groups in there, but we still went in and checked all the sites. Made sure there wasn't somebody back there camping that wasn't supposed to be in there camping without being registered. So I drove in a dirt road very similar to this one. Just a 1-lane dirt road with a steel gate. Drove up to the gate, motor running, pitch black, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. By the time I got around all my rounds to check and see this one spot. And that smoke does follow you, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, it's awful.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Anyway, pull up to the gate, lights on, unlocked the gate, got back in the truck, drove down, probably about as far from here down to where we come off of the main road here to come up to the campground. Came back in, checked all the areas, mostly with headlights, because you could pull into each camp spot and you could look, make sure everything was like it was supposed to be. There wasn't anybody in there. So as long as it took to drive up here, turn around and drive back, about that long, maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes, driving a truck, making all kind of noise in the middle of the night, drove back down to the gate, got out, left my flashlight in the truck, which I normally would do, because you don't need it, you just use your tail lights. Because you can see better without getting a flashlight and blinding yourself with a flashlight. This was well before LED lights and cell phones and all those type of things that we've got now. So I get out of the truck, walk back to the tail lights where I could see the gates, pull the gates in. As soon as I got right here, I was close to hear that tent right there. The blood-curdlingest woman's scream you could ever imagine. And it was at my back, because I had driven out this way and I walked around behind. So I was here trying to lock the gate when that happened. At the same time, I had been at that location, that assignment, probably 9 months to a year. And my cohorts and my boss, my immediate supervisor, and my equal, who was another ranger there, were constantly trying to, I don't want to say harass, that's not the word. It was good fun and jest on their part, but they were constantly looking for something to get me on. And the last thing I wanted to do was, and I know what anybody back there, this was dead of winter, there wasn't any leaves on the trees. So, I grabbed my flashlight when I got back to the cab, which was like a second from there to there to get to the cab, shone the flash, there wasn't anything there. But the scream was there, and my hair was standing up. And so I didn't mention this to anybody. I mentioned it to my wife when I got back home. And it just in passing, I heard something really strange. Well, what'd you hear? And then she's one of those, she kind of wants to hear about it, but don't tell me about it during the night. Okay, when it's dark. So I had to tell her about it more the next day, what I heard. But from that point on, and I just kind of filed it away until several years ago. I started reading more, finding out more, and talking to some other people. And then it kind of started fitting in. And since then, I didn't tell you this other, I showed Pat tonight. I went back in that same area. There's another ranger that's there now. He's heard knocks in that same general area that I heard the scream. I've done some more walking during the daytime and researching different areas, and then I found this one tree. It's kind of odd looking tree, wasn't it, Pat?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Three hardwoods. They're about 1.5 inches, 2 inches diameter. Broke at the ground. I say broke, not broke off. Broke. You can see where they're broke on the outside, and 3 of them fed and woven together with the limbs of there, and the trees are still alive. So they bush out, but they're all interlocked with the limbs. Strange. But anyway, that's my anticlimactic story.
But did this trigger anything else that you, in your memories of odd things or odd feelings at least?
I didn't. I mean, there's all kind of things you can think back that you got that inkling in the back of your neck. I do. You just. I don't think I'm going to go down there tonight. Or I don't think I'm going to get out right now. I can drive by and look at whatever. And try not to act like you're afraid, but at the same time, at that time, I didn't know about. You always go with your gut feeling. Whenever I go against my gut feeling is when something happens. When I'm Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. You know, listen to yourself next time. Don't do the things that you're not supposed to do.
What's your opinion with the David Pilates stuff, the missing 411 since being retired?
What's
with the missing, with all the people missing in the national park?
Yeah.
What is it, David? David Pilates. Yeah, have you read any of his books?
I haven't read his books, but I listened to him.
Yeah, what do you think about that as a park ranger? Does it happen a lot more than people realize?
It seems like it does more nationally. On the state, we never had anything like that happen in all the different state parks that I worked at. Everything, well, I mean, we had people deceased and people die and things like that, but it wasn't under strange circumstances.
The risk, yeah.
Right. It was just.
What about unexpected closures of part of the park?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we never had that. Because I was there 15 years.
What was it in Alabama?
What?
Was it in Alabama?
Georgia State Park.
Georgia State, yeah.
Yeah.
We had an issue with Genesee State Park. They camped there for years, and then they had a flash flood. They had a day and a half to get people out. But then again, we had some minor occurrences, bigfoot and odd things at that park. And a lot of people theorized in Alabama it was caused Bigfoot, and they said it was caused a flash flood. They did have some trailers that stayed, and the government ended up paying for that. But I think that's. Do you think does that? I mean, that's a very good question. Unexplained parks closed, or UFO crashes, or anything like that.
I didn't have any personal experience with that. That doesn't mean that I'm one of the worst critics out there right now as far as. Okay. Don't give me. We don't have enough time to talk about that tonight. Okay.
That's another topic.
Did y'all have any? There you go.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. Just give him a hand, folks. All right, we're up. Ready? Looks good. Go for it.
All right. First of all, thank you for keeping our areas clean. Talking, but I want to say a huge thank you to Jonathan and Mark for putting on this event and inviting us to speak. You know, I felt honored that they asked us and that they wanted to brag about the women of Bigfoot, because that's near and dear to my heart. And then Miss Rebecca, a huge thank you to her, because she did, I'm sure, the lion's share of getting everything organized and ready. And
Rebecca did not.
She did. Women of Bigfoot. Everybody. Okay, so I am Lauren Smith. I host Night Callers Bigfoot Radio. It is a YouTube and Facebook live video podcast. We have been around for over 10 years now. We started out on Blog Talk Radio. We used to call in and we would have a live show with a chat, and eventually I switched it to YouTube and Facebook Live. We have done over 300 episodes interviewing Bigfoot researchers. So that's over 300 people that are researching this. As we know now, there are thousands of you guys out there. A lot of people ask us, why don't you interview witnesses like Sasquatch Chronicles or something? And I tell them because researchers are witnesses, every single one of them. Even if they're getting into it and haven't had a sighting, they had something that spurned the need to go figure out this mystery, right? So I am a Bigfoot legacy. I'm a legacy kid. So I grew up, a lot of kids grow up, summer break, they go to summer camp, they go to Disney World, they do, you know, bowling night with their family.
I was a terrible mother.
She was a great mother. I grew up, all those stories she told, all the audio she collected, I was right there with her. So whereas normal kids grow up, you know, basketball camp, cheerleading camp, I grew up out in the woods, collecting evidence, casting tracks, measuring marks on trees, taking pictures of formations and gathering poop to keep in our freezer to analyze. Normal kids open the freezer for a popsicle. We have scat in ours. I, at the tender age, you know, of preteen years, I am putting together spreadsheets of lunar cycles that coincide with sighting reports. And this is what I'm doing.
I wasn't that bad.
So I grew up the weird kid, which I'm okay with. Obviously, I've made a profession out of it now. But so I am a Bigfoot legacy kid because of her. So she's been doing this for over 20 years. And 22 years, and I've been right there along with her for the ride. So I have heard, I guarantee you, a million stories. Encounter stories, experiences. My brain is like a database. You can say, earlier, Bigfoot swimming, fishing, and all of a sudden I have 3 encounters in my head that I can tell you that I have heard. I'm like a repository for Bigfoot information. It's ridiculous. So I grew up doing this, and she started Night Caller's Bigfoot Radio, and I started hosting with her, and then eventually I took it over. So she raised me doing this, and so something that is near and dear to my heart is, and the name of this presentation is Littlefooters, the Next Generation. So I'm a 2nd gen researcher. My kids are the 3rd generation, and they have been out in the woods with me researching as well. And so we're bringing our kids into the fold. Now, that's not just about me, that's about every single one of you. If you have kids, grandbabies, nieces and nephews, little cousins, you guys are mentoring the next generation of Bigfoot researchers. And that we have to be good stewards of that. We have to plant the seeds that are going to spawn good researchers out of this next crop, right? We have to teach them. That is our duty. I know a lot of us think that the woods are no place for kids, or these outings are no place for kids, and that's absolutely not true. That's withholding all that information from them, and then when we all die, what happens? Like, the next generation doesn't know squat and they have to start over. I would rather them learn from our mistakes. And even if this topic is proven, it doesn't stop with proven. Next, there's conservation, right? We have to teach them how to take care of that species, how to take care of the environment so that that species can keep going. So that's what I wanted to talk about with everybody, is the next generation of Bigfoot researchers and what we can do to help them be successful. So let me check my notes because I don't want to leave anything out. So we're going to be learning from them one day. We're going to be looking to them for information. So we got to start now. So get them outdoors. A lot of the older people in my life constantly complain about screen time. Well, they're on their video games all day. All right. You have the ability to get them outdoors. And how do you do that? You get them excited, right? You get them out. You teach them about wildlife. You give them books. You take them to nature centers. You introduce them to these park rangers that have shiny badges and guns on their hips. Those kids are sponges for this information. So you get them the wildlife books. You let them watch clean, like Night Caller's Bigfoot Radio, clean podcasts about Bigfoot where they can learn about these encounters. Don't watch the one with Jonathan Over. I love Jonathan, but however, that one I can't edit. But the rest of them, but educate them. Take them to nature centers. Take them out on hikes. You guys, we bear the burden of teaching that next generation, and you can make it fun for them. So I take my boys out hiking all the time. Every single time we step outdoors, it's an adventure. What wildlife can we see? What insects can we see? What snakes can we identify? What plants can we identify? And if you take them to meet the park rangers, take them to the nature centers, they can learn to identify the flora and fauna of their areas, right? Because Oklahoma is going to be way different than here in Alabama. When I first got here, my first question for Mark was, what kind of snakes do you got here? Because I need to know what I'm working with. I need to know, are they aggressive? You know, how many poisonous versus regular? So teach them about their area. And then while you're out, you can start teaching them the scientific method. Start teaching them about analyzing data, collecting evidence, but you can make it fun. And it doesn't have to be Bigfoot related at all. That comes into play later. You teach them about their area. They found 3 different leaves, and they're going to go home and look at what kind of leaves these are. They found these different tracks. My kids get so damn excited about tracks, you guys. They find a track and they light up. That's a raccoon, that's a deer, that's a snake. They get stoked, and then they track that animal, which comes into play later for Bigfoot, right? So you start them young, start teaching them how to gather that evidence and data, because they're going to need that, 1, to prove Bigfoot, or 2, to conserve the species, or any species. So get them out, get them into nature, and start teaching them. was on a roll and I got sidetracked inside my own head. It's fine. Okay, so when you get them out and you start teaching them, you know, this is a bear track, this is a whatever track, that noise was a fox, that noise was an owl, this is a coyote, because they all make really weird noises that we hear a lot. You're teaching them that isn't Bigfoot. So the more you know about your area, the more you know what isn't Bigfoot. She's done the legwork. If you guys go to Squatchy Nights Audio, she's uploading videos of hogs, owls, foxes, deer. You're learning the sounds. She's put in the legwork for you and other researchers that have been in the game for a long time. They put in the legwork already. All you got to do is go listen to their videos, and you know, okay, that's an owl. All right, I know when I'm out in the woods and I hear that, that's not Bigfoot. So that's something that I say a lot to my kids and other people. Not everything is Bigfoot. And so the more we teach our kids what isn't Bigfoot, the more likely they are to capture the data that is, that one sound that is, and be able to turn that around. We're going to teach them to think critically about things. Again, not everything is Bigfoot. Sometimes things get emotional and intense out in the field. You think you've got the thing. And then you get home and you're like, damn it, that was a coyote. Like, it sounded so crazy out in the field. And
Sounds
that's okay.
so different out in the woods.
And that's okay. It's okay to get excited. But you've got to teach them to think critically. And I encourage skepticism. I don't want my kids to believe in Bigfoot just because I do. So my son, Adam, is about to be 10 years old. And when people are like, oh, your mama researches Bigfoot? Oh my God, that's so cool. Do you believe in Bigfoot? He's like, no. He's like, I don't. He's like, I don't think Bigfoot's real, and until you prove it to me otherwise, he's like, I don't think it's real. And every time I show him a picture, you know, some new picture comes across on the internet, and I'll be like, oh, Adam, look at that. And he's like, yeah, Mom, that's an owl. And I'm just like, it's a what now? And he's like, look at the eyes, and he's like, that's a shadow, that's a beak. And sure enough, I superimposed, it was a certain image. He was like 7 at the time. I superimposed that image over an owl. It was an owl face. It was just caught on a game cam and someone had blown it up and pixelated and circled, and it was an owl. And my 7-year-old son caught that because he thinks critically and skeptically. So teach them skepticism. Teach them not to, you know, make everything all fantasy and amazing and fun. But teach them to be kind. That's all. Oh my goodness!
Was that Gizmo?
I don't know.
That was sister.
Oh, it's sister.
Okay. So teach them to be little forces in the Bigfoot phenomena and conservation efforts. We are creating little forces right now, you guys. And again, this is not just your kids. This is grandbabies, nieces, nephews, cousins. This is kids out there, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I have given this presentation to a bunch of Cub Scouts. They ate it up, and they weren't really into the Bigfoot thing, and they were so excited. They came up with all these plans on how they were going to catch Bigfoot and trap him, and they were very creative. But they got their little wheels turning. And their scoutmaster, he emailed me a few days later, and he was like, oh my God, my kids will not be quiet about it. He said they are pumped, and they want to get out into nature. They want to go back out so we can do this. They want to go look. They want to see how they can apply all that they've learned so far to Bigfoot research, which is a huge deal. Been talking too long.
Dang, that's what I was here for.
You have one job.
I know.
Okay, so you can give them credible sources to learn. Again, Squatchy Nights Audio, Night-Collared Bigfoot Radio. I'm not just plugging my own stuff, I promise. YouTube wildlife noises. To this day, I hear something weird, I start typing in, what's a fox sound like? What's this sound like? What are the owls that sound like monkeys?
Oh, barred owls.
Terrifying. Terrifying. First time it happened to me, I literally almost peed my pants. I thought there was like 50 chimpanzees behind me about to eat my face off. And my ex-husband was like, yeah, those were owls. And I'm like, no, there's monkeys in Oklahoma. I am absolutely sure of it now. And he's just like, nope, they were owls. And sure enough, we got signal, YouTube did. And it was owls. So there's just a lot of weird things, you know, but Squatchy Nights Audio, is something, like I said, that she has uploaded sounds that you can hear, YouTube wildlife sounds. Also, I found out earlier that Ohio State, they have a YouTube channel. The state put out a YouTube channel on Bigfoot. So it's Ohio State DNR, I believe. Yeah. And so they have actually put out a legitimate statewide Bigfoot channel on that. And who else? Oh, Olympic Project. So Olympic Project is a group out of Washington and that Pacific Northwest area. And they are one of my favorite research groups. I actually went to visit them last summer. They're very scientific. All of them pretty much are certified search and rescue. So when they're out trekking the wilds of Pacific Northwest, they're also doing search and rescue usually while they're out there. They have just the educational stuff that they have, it's just a font of information. They're trying things that no one's ever tried. They're out there teaching people. They don't keep it all to themselves. They are teaching everybody their methods, their tricks, everything they've learned, all the evidence, all the data, and it's truly amazing. So check out the Olympic Project. These guys are doing great things. Pat and Jonathan and Mark, they're doing great things, and they're also not scared to share that information with you. So just be sure to check out their stuff as well. Oh my God. I'm being attacked. Anyways, I appreciate you all for coming and listening to us speak. I would not be able to do what I do without this woman. She's my best friend, my mom, and we call her, in our family, we call her the legend because she started this 20 years ago. And through her, we have met so many people and done so many amazing things. I've been all over the United States because of Bigfoot research. I know people all across the world through this. But because of her and women like her, we were able to do this. And that's what I want to sum this up with is the next generation of Bigfoot researchers, the little guys and girls, they are able to do what they do, especially the little girls, because women like her 20 years ago were game enough to say, I want to go out there and I want to look for this kind of stuff. And so we have those women went out in the field with all these men. They roughed it out there and they proved themselves and they earned respect and they earned a place in this so that I could come along and step into it and not feel that burden. And so the little kids could do it too. So I just wanted to do a round of applause for the women of Bigfoot and also the next generation of Bigfoot. And I hope that you guys will find some kids to go teach about Bigfoot.
Well, another one in the books. It went really well. Thank you for everybody for behaving. Thank you for everybody for coming. Thank you for these guys for doing all you did. And thank you for letting us highlight you. I want to thank my wife for, I accidentally scheduled 2 speaking engagements and 2 weekends double back. And we flew down there on Friday and we got in the hotel and it was a South American hotel. Probably would have been a lot better. And it's been an adventure, so I want to thank my wife for being a part of this, the silent partner behind me, getting this. Let's give her a hand, please. She puts up with my shit. So, hey, she's a beautiful woman for that. Yes, sir.
Take care.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yes. Does anybody have any encounter stories that they want to tell?
Anything that's happened to you that you have questions about, that you think might have been something, anything like that, Jonathan, Mark Green, and Janelle Lee are all available for you. You can stand up and share here, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can go share one-on-one with one of them. They're all great listeners. They're not going to judge you. You are welcome and safe to share here.
And also, go back through the plate and food line. Let's eat more food. Thank you everybody for being a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.